Well, I had a chance to sit down with Dr. Phil recently, and we dove into his meager upbringings in northern Texas on the football field. Take a look. Because a lot of people see Dr. Phil on television, they've listened to your advice, they've taken your advice. They may not know your own journey. So, you know, you didn't just one day show up on television and start giving advice. There's been a long career of education and clinical practice. And then one day, you met Oprah Winfrey, and the rest is, as they say, history. So if we were to ask this simple question, who is Dr. Phil and where did he come from? What would be the Wikipedia version of that?
Wow. Depends on who's writing Wikipedia that day.
Yeah, there's some stuff in there not always right.
You know, I never had any intention of being on television, I can tell you that. And I grew up in Texas and Oklahoma. And I've always been really fascinated, and I may have started my first psychological journey when I was 12 years old, because it was at that point that I was playing football on a little junior high team, they call it middle school now, and we had a game rain out and on a Saturday, and so on Monday, the coach from the Salvation Army called our coach, and we were really good, and all you had to do was ask us to find out.
True Texas football, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so they said, listen, we know you had a game rain out. Could we come over and scrimmage you? And the coach said, yeah, sure. So they came over and piled out of a couple of pickup trucks, and we're over there snickering because the kid that lined up across from me had on a button-up shirt, and he had his number 4 on it in masking tape. And we're going, how dumb is he? Why not put it on there with magic marker? We're so dumb, we don't realize he didn't put it on magic marker because that's his shirt.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a shirt, that is his shirt that he has to wear to school tomorrow. And he had blue jeans rolled up to the knee so they looked like football pants, and we had black uniforms with silver stripes down the side and shiny helmets. None of theirs matched. They snapped that football. That kid hit me so hard, it still hurts when it rains. And they ran up and down that field. It looked like a track meet. We're watching them go by, and I got in the car afterwards and looked at my dad, and I said, what happened? And he said, well, son, you just got handed to you on a platter. And I said, well, I was looking for a little more in-depth answer. And he said, they were hungry. They wanted it more. Yeah. Those kids were just so glad to have a grass to play on. And in that moment, something happened in my life that changed me forever. I got fascinated with why people do what they do and don't do what they don't do. And from that day forward, I have been focused on analyzing why people do the things they do and don't do the things they don't do. And think about it. If you understand that, you have a huge advantage in life. If you can understand what motivates people, why some of these angry people today are so angry that they're attacking every institution that has made this country so great. And people say, Dr. Phil, you say you love this country. Do you not recognize that there's racism and poverty and homelessness and all of these problems? Yes, I do. I do recognize that. I love this country enough that I don't have to be defensive about its shortcomings. It is a work in progress, and to whom much is given, much is expected. I hold myself to a high standard of working on making this country a better place. And I do everything that I can think of to make that better. But I don't believe you have to tear this country down from the inside and do our enemies' work in order to make America better. I think we can do it if we all work together. And we can do it out of love, not anger and fear. And that's what's important to me. And since I was 12 years old, I've wanted to know what made champions champions. I wanted to know what made criminals criminals. I want to know what made failures failures. I've been focused on that my entire life. And that's why I think I have great hope for this country. I have great hope for all of us that if we work together, we can change this. And that's been my journey, is figuring out how to make things better in this world.
You said something I thought was very revealing when you said those other kids on that football team, they were hungry. And it was their motivation, that sense that they knew that they didn't have the nice uniforms, they hadn't been trained as well, but they came to the line of scrimmage hungrier than the team that thought they had it in the bag.
Oh my, did they ever.
And how many kids grow up without that hunger, without thinking that there's something that even matters if they're hungry? They don't realize that if they're willing to work hard, treat people right, get a decent education, that they can overcome their circumstances.
Yeah, and we're making a big mistake in America right now. You don't reward bad behavior. If you were, if you said, if you asked me, what's the most fundamental psychological truth that you could say, that just Psych 101, what do you boil it down to? It would be, don't reward bad behavior. And if you were going to translate that into policy or government, and I'm no politician, I could care less, red, blue, Republican, Democrat, I don't know enough about it to speak. But I can tell you this, you don't reward bad behavior, and you don't subsidize behavior you don't want more of.
That's exactly right. That's not really that difficult to understand, is it?
It's really not. And single mothers, in the 60s, we had like that percentage. Now, in the 20s, 2020, it's like, why? It's that percentage. Why? Because we pay now if you're a single mother.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't pay single mothers back then. We pay them now. And if they get married, we stop paying them. You're subsidizing behavior you don't want and not subsidizing behavior you do want. It makes no sense to me. Look, this is chess, not checkers, but you've got to stop and think, are we doing things that are fundamentally against what will make this country stand up tall again? And we are. We're subsidizing the wrong things. We're rewarding bad behavior. We need to stop doing that. We need to start rewarding those that work hard, and we need to start enabling good things, not bad things, and give people a track to run on. That's all we've got to do here.
I think a lot of people can relate to what you just said. What you said is common sense. And most everybody, when you say it, is like, yeah, I get that. But we're not doing it. And that's the big challenge, I think, that we face as parents, as business leaders, as pastors, whatever role we play in the country. That's a really big, challenging part of it. We are very much enjoying the optimism and encouragement that Dr. Phil is bringing to our audience. Now, you can stay up to date on all of the things that Dr. Phil is up to by a simple visit to the website Huckabee.tv, where we provide a direct link to Dr. Phil and his many activities. Hey, Mike Huckabee here. Listen, if you love your mom, apple pie, and being conservative, you ought to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and click the like button, and show all the leftists out there that conservatives are thriving and patriotism is far from dead. Am I pandering too much? No way. I'm just getting started.